here in defiance of tyranny. You've come to fight as free men. And free men you are. What will you do without freedom? Will you fight? Fight against that? No! We will run! And we will live. Die. Fight and you may die. Run and you'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds, many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
You ready? Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, yo.
And welcome to Anti-Tyranny News Radio here on UCY.TV. Thank you for joining me this evening. It is Friday, February 7th. And Bitcoin right now is trading in US dollars at 728. 728 even. The big, thing about, Bitcoin right now is, companies are asking, can Bitcoin ever be legitimized? Meaning, is it going to really be something mainstream? It's a major question out there. Cryptocurrencies, you gotta remember this is really experimental in virtual currency. And it's experimental in the way, not that there's never been any type of virtual currency attempt before. That what's experimental about it is decentralization and not having some central authority over it to control the price of it. So, it really is at the mercy of the market. But, there's companies that are continuing to come out and say, hey, we're going to start accepting Bitcoin. Now you have Bitcoin ATMs. So, I don't think we're going to see Bitcoin just completely fail and disappear. Whether, some other virtual currency comes out and replaces it is yet to be seen. A lot of the virtual currencies that have come out that are like Bitcoin have come out kind of be, trying to be like more in association with Bitcoin. You have Litecoin out there, and Bitcoin's considered the, virtual gold of virtual currencies, and Litecoin's the silver. It's yet to be seen what exactly will happen with Bitcoin. To start off the broadcast, many of you might have, seen the 9/11 truther that, crashed the interview at the Super Bowl. We have an exclusive here from We Are Change, how to crash the Super Bowl without a ticket. So here we go. Let's turn that down. That's pretty loud. Can anybody hear me now? Hopefully. I have no idea what the hell is going on. Everything's starting to freak out. Give me a second here. Because now I can't even see if you guys can hear me yet. So, again, give me a second here. Hopefully. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay. Now you guys can hear my voice. Now let's see if this audio clip will play here. So let me know if you're hearing the audio in my voice. The other. Okay, now we should have mic volume. Give me a second here. Since I'm having to do this a whole different way now.
Totally snuck into the Super Bowl. I literally just walked in, and I'm going to get into the game for free. This is absolutely amazing. I have this press pass that has nothing to do with the Super Bowl whatsoever, and it's gotten me by 3 gates so far, and I have 1 gate to go. There it is. There's only one guy in yellow to get into the Super Bowl. I'm going to see the Super Bowl for free today. This is amazing. I got to see Caucus trying to get to Giant Stadium. They wouldn't let anybody go any further. I without a ticket, but I saw there was employees everywhere, and there was an employee shuttle bus. And that was pretty much my only way to get to the stadium. So I walked towards the employee shuttle bus, and I think they were supposed to check IDs before we got on the bus, but I just walked on the bus, sat in the back, and put my head down and played on my phone. And we took a long trip to some other venue where there was like 1,000 workers there getting ready to go in different buses to the stadium. So they were wrapping around, and there was an open bus, and I just walked right onto the bus, and I knew someone must have saw me, but the bus door closed and we took off. I'm like, I guess nobody saw me. So now I'm on my way to Giant Stadium, and we get to the parking lot. They wouldn't let me in the gate. They said I don't have the right ticket, so I walked around and back, like for maybe 45 minutes, back and forth. Pretty much figuring at this point. And then another bus came, and a bunch of people got off, so there was kind of like a big line rushing in. So I got in like the middle of the line, and I flashed my pass, and she said, it's not the right pass. And I said, I'm in a rush. I don't have any time for this. I've already been taken care of. I need to go. And she said, okay. So I got in, and now it's this line that goes back. And then there's metal detectors. So I went through the metal detectors with my like hoodie dripped over my body, so they might think I had the correct pass under the hoodie. And I got through the metal detectors, and then they were scanning passes, and that's like the point that you really can't get past. That's like the safest place for them or whatever. And I said the same thing to that guy, and he let me through. So then I was like in this portion, and then there was like one gate to get into like the next portion, and I said the same thing, and I just went right in. And then I was in that one portion that you saw in that video for like a long time. I was walking back and forth for like a really long time, and then I got denied a couple times. They said, you can't come in, you don't have a pass. And then this one lady with like braids, I just walked, and I walked right past her, and she like got me. And I said, I'm in a rush, I can't go. I can't talk. I'm in a rush, and I've already been checked out, and I really can't deal with this right now. So she just let me go. I went right up the escalator, and I was in the Super Bowl. It's like, damn, this is crazy. It was my first NFL game too, by the way.
So you never went to a football?
Never been to a football game in my life besides high school. And I was there very early. There's nobody in the stadium at this point. I was in there like probably 1:30, maybe a little later. Got in, went all the way to the top, and pretended like that was my seat. And it was there for a long time. Just sat there for maybe like 2 hours because I didn't want to bother anybody. I didn't want to get kicked out. Then people started coming in, so I started doing my interviews about the Illuminati symbolism in the last 2 halftime shows. I got a lot of good footage. And then around the end of the third quarter, I went to go down to the bottom of the field because my plan was to, once the game concluded, I was going to run out in the field with all the other press and try to, put my camera in the face like everybody else is trying to do, like all the press people. But as I was walking around, I see this press room, the official press room. So I went, and they said, you can't come in without a press credential. And I said, okay, that's fine. And I just walked right by him. I didn't even say anything to him. So he probably assumed I had a press credential. So I'm just like, you can't come in any further. And I just said, fine. And I just walked, and I went right in. And I just remember, like, each time I would walk, I'm like, they're definitely following me. I can't just keep on walking. Then, like, there's no one there. And I actually got in. So now I'm in the press room. It's only the third quarter at this point. So we got to go to the third. And the fourth quarter is long in football. So all this time, plus all the end of they have to take showers and everything. So then people started coming in, football players. And I was at this podium because it was the MVP podium. So I got this spot and I was just sitting right there, and all I wanted to do was ask a question about 9/11 truth. I was going to say, do you believe in the official story of 9/11? I wanted to be the first guy to ask. But then I thought, I saw that mic right there. I knew it was live TV, and I knew I would only have one chance. I was really nervous, but I just jumped up there and did it. And the rest is history. I walked off. They grabbed me. They harassed me.
What do you mean by the harassment?
They grabbed my shirt. They asked, where's your press credentials? I said, here it is. They said, that's not the correct one. Where's your press credentials? I said, I don't have one. They said, how'd you get in? I said, I just walked in. They said, who let you in? I said, the guys out there. They just let me in. They said, how'd you get in the stadium? I said, I have a Super Bowl ticket. I came here. They're like, where's your ticket? Because you have to wear them around your neck. It's like these big tickets you have to wear around your neck. They said, where's your ticket? I said, my girlfriend has it. They're like, call your girlfriend. I'm like, her phone's dead. It just died. I can't reach her. And this story was good for a while until they found my phone, because I mentioned my girlfriend's name's Marina. They found my phone. They found Marina's number. The officer called Marina from his cell phone, talked to her for like 20 minutes. I heard her just spilling the beans. She's like, oh yeah, and we blah, 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 blah. And she just told everything, like absolutely everything I planned from like start. And he's just looking at me the whole time. And then I even went, yo, Marina, it's not me. And they got all pissed. Like, they got really pissed at me.
He pretended to be you?
But he pretended to be me.
So this is the FBI pretended to be
But she didn't believe it. When I talked to her after this, and she thought it was just some guy I met.
Yeah.
Like, and then I even texted her right when he went. They weren't like grilling me too hard. I texted, "Don't answer your phone!" ! And that sent it off. And they didn't see me send that, but she didn't get that in time. So she answered the phone, spilled everything, and then I came clean. I told them about the press pass I used, how I got in, and everything like that. And apparently they said they would have let me go if I would have been honest, but I wasn't honest. They were getting pretty mad at this point, and then they grilled me like a terrorist for about an hour and a half when I was handcuffed in the jail cell.
What did they ask you?
Well, they would just ask me, how did I get in? They wanted to know how I got in. That was their big thing. Like, how they didn't really believe me. They didn't think there's just this little press pass could have got me in. There's like, you're lying. There's something you're hiding. How did you get in? We don't believe you. And then they kept on trying to like catch me in the like lies and stuff like that. And they're like, really, how did you get in? And so I'm like, this is how I got in. And then I guess they saw the news report. It was like on YouTube immediately because it was live TV, I guess. And then they come in, and the one guy he's like, I kind of believe it, but you said it might have been bullshit,
What did he say?
He said, no, I kind of get down on that kind of stuff. Like, I question things or something like that. I was like, oh, okay. And he was probably the cooler guy. And then once they found out it was the 9/11 truth thing, they came in with like, they treated me more like the only way I could describe it would be a left-wing terrorist. Like what do you think about Al Qaeda over there chopping people's heads off? What do you think about this? Like political questions, like Homeland Security would try to pin me down as like a homegrown terrorist type of questions. So they're asking me those questions, and then they just let me go when the stadium was shutting down at like 1:30, 2 in the morning. And
they gave you a summons or a ticket?
They gave me a ticket. I was banned from MetLife for life. I can never go back. They said the NFL is going to contact me for, like, I guess some sort of security reasons.
How has the reaction been since?
Everything's been cool. I didn't know anything really happened until today at like 3 in the afternoon because I got out of jail really late. I slept at my girlfriend's house last night. We didn't look at anything. I didn't work today. I came straight home, took a long train ride here, got here in the early afternoon, and I didn't really get around to really looking into it till like later that afternoon. And then all the feedback was fairly positive.
It was a very prolific moment. You just ripped the mic up and then dropped it as soon as you're done.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting in a fight, like you don't remember it. Like your adrenaline's so high, like I did not remember really what happened. I don't even remember what I said, and I was afraid to look at it. I'm like, damn, I probably look like an asshole. And then I look, I'm like, it looks kind of pimp. Like I dropped the mic and I just walk off, and like it looked a lot more pimp than what I thought it looked like. From what I can see, people appreciate what I did, at least. Maybe, I know 9/11 Truth is trending for all day today. And
If you could do anything different, would you?
no, absolutely not. I mean, I'm surprised I got in the game. I went there, to interview people outside. That's the only thing I thought I was going to do.
So they let you out 2 o'clock, do they give you back your stuff?
They gave me back all my stuff. It was all discombobulated. My dollar bills were over here, my credit cards. They were all in one big bag. They gave it to me. I made sure my SD cards were there. And then when I got back to Brooklyn, I realized that there was no footage on them any longer. And hopefully your friend can help me with that.
Why is 9/11 Truth important to you?
9/11 Truth is the single most important event in my life that didn't personally happen to me. It really woke me up and it got me to where I am today. And it's the reason that we're in the Middle East. It's the reason that Homeland Security's beefed up Homeland Security. It's the reason for the Patriot Act. It's the reason for all the civil liberties we've lost over the past 12 years. It's constantly the excuse for us meddling in other people's affairs, and it's all our business. And the Super Bowl was in New York, so it is relevant.
What do you take back from the whole experience?
Just go for it, bro. If you see the mic, grab it.
Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me once again. Let me get my browser all loaded here. Okay. I had to try to relaunch Skype and relaunch my browser. Hopefully I have a decent connection now. Can't rely on you guys in the chat room to let me know if you can hear me. Should be able to hear me. Showing that my mic's reading on my board now, so I don't know what was going on. I even turned off my board and everything. Okay. Cool. Oh my. Gotta love all this technology crap that never ceases to fail the moment they come out with new technology. Since they really started releasing Windows 8, immediately started having problems with Windows 7. Okay, even Jules says I sound good and everything sounds clear, good. I was about to just take it all and throw it out the window. It's one of those things that, I don't have money to sit there and just update every 2 years. Hopefully one day won't need to. We'll have smart enough people out there putting out a product that actually lasts more than a couple of years. Okay. Now let's see. Do. Okay. Now we got everything loading back up, finally. And, hopefully this clip will play because, with, 2016 coming, you know, everybody's talking about, Rand Paul or Ted Cruz or any of this, and I've definitely, kind of said, well, you know, I think Rand Paul would be better than Ted Cruz, and, Ben Swan put this out, and it's titled, Why Rand Paul's Economic Freedom Zones Don't Mean Freedom for All. Hopefully this will play, and I'll try to listen in to see if it does. Well, I guess we had this issue one other time. Not sure exactly what's going on. It sounded like it started playing and then just faded out, and I'm pretty sure you guys heard the same thing. Wow. Well, that kind of ruins a lot of my plans, and this has been something that I think it's happened twice to me now. And, I might have a way to play this here, thanks to Jules. Jules is awesome. She's always there to try to save it. Okay, give me a second here. Okay. Now we'll see if we can get this play. Someone in the chat said, I hear Skype. Yes, I turned that noise off now. So you shouldn't hear Skype anymore, but hopefully this clip will play. There we go. Okay, let's try this out.
Senator Rand Paul offered a rebuttal to the State of the Union just over a week ago, and since then he's been touring the country talking about an idea called the Economic Freedom Zone. Hey there, I'm Ben Swan. Thanks for watching. This is your Truth in Media moment. So what exactly is an economic freedom zone? So Senator Paul explains it like this.
My plan is to create economic freedom zones in distressed areas all over the country, including my home state of Kentucky, which will leave more money in the hands of the people who earn it. In economic freedom zones, we'll cut income and business taxes to a single flat rate of 5%. We'll cut payroll taxes for employers and employees, so folks will go home with more money in their paychecks. Burdensome, job-killing regulations will be removed, and business will expand. More money and more jobs will flow back to the areas that have suffered the most in this economic crisis. Economic freedom zones won't pick winners and losers. The money will go to businesses that consumers have already voted for.
So the economic freedom zone sounds like a great idea, right? The only problem is the very last thing the Senator Paul said there about the zones not picking winners and losers, because that's not entirely true. Politicians will pick winners and losers by picking which cities will get these advantages. Look, I understand what the senator is trying to do here, create micro-laboratories where the power of low taxes, school choice, and economic freedom can thrive. But consider this. Most cities that suffer from economic hardships do so because of a variety of reasons, including overtaxation and limits on opportunity. But these issues are bigger than just payroll and income tax. The danger in picking a city like Detroit that has been hardest hit by economic struggles is that the economic freedom zone does really nothing to deal with high crime, corrupt local government, generations of government dependency, and many other problems that prevent business owners from relocating. Again, I understand the strategy here, but if you pick cities like Detroit, ultimately, and they don't bring about economic growth because of all the other problems, the freedom ideas are now considered failing ideas. Wouldn't it be better to call for an economic freedom zone called the United States of America? I agree with the senator. Let's not pick winners and losers. Let's push for equality of opportunity for every American. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out all of our Truth in Media videos down here below. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just look for Ben Swan on YouTube. And for all the stories that affect your liberty, you can find me at benswan.com, where, remember, humanity is greater than politics.
Okay, you heard it there. It's a good idea, the fundamental of it, but without addressing all the other problems, it'll be a failed idea. And by doing that, with not addressing all the other issues other than high taxes, you more than likely will be setting up something of, that's supposed to resemble liberty and freedom, something that, well, this is a liberty and freedom idea. Well, yeah, it is, but it's not addressing the other problems. Therefore, when it fails, it'll be a failure of one of those liberty ideas, those ideas of liberty. See how liberty failed? And, it could really, actually hurt the thing. It's pretty bad, but, it's not a bad idea. The execution of it would be the part that wouldn't be able to be feasible without addressing all the other issues, for it to succeed. So, it's one of those things, yeah, we want lower taxes, but that's not going to guarantee the success. And, here in Indiana, one city crime rate, it's becoming more democratic, liberal ran. Not saying that liberal thought's completely wrong. Not the traditional liberal now. If you want to consider the liberal politicians like Obama and Hillary, those aren't liberal. They use the title liberal. Everybody calls them liberal. The right calls them liberal. So you call them liberal, and, liberal, the meaning today, how it's used is completely different from traditional liberalism, which derives from the word liberty. So when you really look at it, it's one of those things that, let's just put it this way, the socialists are people that, like to push a lot of the higher taxes because, well, higher taxes will, pay for the government. Well, the government's always the one in the way. So, I just think that Ben Swan brings up a point that would definitely be a bad idea and, not something that we should go pushing for right away. I think that would be a problem. Okay, I got a story here from BenSwan.com. Black activists and politicians force Trader Joe's grocery store out, claim it would attract too many whites. By Michael Lofty, BenSwan.com. Portland, Oregon, February 7th. According to local media outlet, the Oregonian, highlighted by the Associated Press, African American activists and politicians forced the Trader Joe's grocery chain to drop their plans for a new store in a predominantly black community because the store would increase the desirability of the neighborhood for non-oppressed populations. Says here, quote, "We run neighborhood stores and our approach is simple," said the grocery store chain. "If a neighborhood does not want a Trader Joe's, we understand and we won't open the store in question." The Portland Development Commission offered a substantial discount to the grocery chain for a 2-acre parcel of land that appraised for $2.9 million. The land, which sat undeveloped for years, was offered to the chain for $500,000 in an attempt to bring high-paying jobs and prosperity to the neighborhood. The construction project, which was to include 2 large anchor buildings and 10 retail shops, was promised to an African-American owned construction company. The Portland African American Leadership Forum, along with the mayor Charlie Hales, sent letters to the Portland Development Commission citing that they were contributing to the destructive impact of gentrification and displacement of the African American community. They also said that they would remain opposed to all development of the land that doesn't solely benefit African Americans. Hales did concede that he felt that Trader Joe's could be a good fit, but other leaders weren't budging. The grocery chain is based out of California and regularly makes headlines for the revolutionary business model that brings discount health foods and products to neighborhoods. Also, the chain is continuously praised as one of the highest paying grocers in the world. New employees start at $10 to $20 an hour. Supervisors make $45,000 to $75,000 a year, and store managers bring in 6-figure salaries. Also, the company makes regular contributions to employee 401ks. So, now we have these politicians and these, Portland African American Leadership Forum and Mayor Charlie Hales and these people going, "Oh, we can't have this white store in our neighborhood." And one thing I don't like getting into is the race thing, but they kind of brought this on themselves. It might attract too many white type people, might displace black people. No, they could have went there and got a pretty high paying job for just being a grocer. And then the neighborhood would have had a source for cheaper, health food products. And so to hear that the people that would be building the buildings and the 10 retail shops was promised to an African American owned construction company. So the capitalist is doing the harm? The Trader Joe's capitalist by trying to build a store there is the one doing the harm? Or is it the people that are always preaching how someone else is causing the harm? Is this not what we see out of, let's say the Obama administration? A lot of his little crony friends? Don't they constantly push stuff that harms who they claim to be trying to help? Aren't they the ones that definitely like to hold the less fortunate down? No, you need to be on welfare and stuff like that. You don't need to have a Trader Joe's that's owned by white people. Really? And the neighborhood, all those people in the neighborhood should just read that last paragraph. They would be pissed. If they go, new employees start out $10 to $20 an hour. Supervisors make $45 to $75 a year. Wow. Store managers make $6 figures. Whoa. Yeah, I work down at Kroger's, or I work down at one of these other big chain box stores. I didn't make that much. Well, I guess you see who's really doing the hurting. And the sad thing is, a lot of those communities will never even know about that. They won't even know. I got some interesting news that I seen go across my news feed. Many of you might have known the take a bite out of crime, the McGruff, the crime dog. I'm sure many of you have. Well, I've seen this come across my news feed. Actor who plays McGruff, the crime dog, sentenced to 16 years. It says here, Galveston, Texas. I'm getting this out of capitalismfreedom.com, or capitalismisfreedom.com. Former McGruff, the crime dog actor, John R. Morales, has been sentenced to 16 years in prison following his guilty plea 3 years after police seized 1,000 marijuana plants, 27 weapons, including a grenade launcher, and 9,000 rounds of ammunition from his home. The man who played the famous Take a Bite Out crime dog was arrested in 2011 after Galveston police and drug-sniffing dogs pulled over the McGruff actor for speeding. The Houston Chronicle reports authorities found diagrams of 2 indoor pot growing operations sitting on the floor seat and multiple pot seeds stored in the trunk of his Infiniti. Police raided Morales' home and found the multitude of marijuana plants, ammunition, and weapons, which included a grenade launcher, according to court documents obtained by News Fix Now. On Monday, the now 41-year-old former actor pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 16 years in prison. Morales insisted that he was nonviolent, but U.S. District Judge Vanessa Gilmore stated that everything I read about you makes you seem like a scary person. Makes you seem. Look at the words there. Seem like a scary person. Not that he was a scary person, not that he did do anything violent, but makes you seem. Because, well, I look at pot growers as criminals, so in my eyes, that makes you a scary person. Says here, McGruff, the crime dog, is a cartoon bloodhound that was created by global advertising company Saatchi & Saatchi and the Ad Council in the early 1980s for the National Crime Prevention Council, used by U.S. police in spreading crime awareness. The dog is often played by actors wearing the character's raincoat costume as McGruff visits schools, does commercials, and engages children through educational videos. And there's more of it. It looks here at houston.cbslocal.com. but I got that out of capitalismisfreedom.com. Kind of a little oxymoron there, kind of interesting story, but not trying to justify anything he did, but I didn't see anything scary or violent about him. He had, what are you talking about, Josh? He had marijuana plants and guns. And that makes him violent. How? He smokes some of his marijuana plants and falls asleep. It's one of those, perceived, things that they look at it. Let me go ahead and do one more clip before, I'm going to let Jules run. That way she can do whatever she wants, and I can go ahead and let her go. Let me find it here. I'm not, since I relaunched my browser, I'm not logged into YouTube, so I don't have all the videos. I had to manually search this one out here. Let me get it here. Okay. Where is it? Where did it go? Okay, I found it. Cool. I just gotta send her the clip or the link real quick. And this one has to do with the Federal Reserve, so I might have to add her back to the conversation. I don't know if she's still on here. Oop. Hopefully it's grabbing it. Yeah, that one looks like the right one there. Okay. I think we have it now.
At the time of the Federal Reserve's 100th birthday in December, Janet Yellen was on the brink of becoming the next chairman of the Fed's Board of Governors. Now she's at the helm of a central bank, which has an enormous impact on the public, but which operates in virtual secrecy. In keeping with WHDT's ongoing reports about the Fed's first 100 years, today's DC report calls attention to the extremely private nature of the Fed. Tuesday, a striking example of this lurked behind much louder headlines when Yellen was finally sworn in. The New York Times noted without apparent discomfort that a Federal Reserve Governor, Daniel Tarullo, conducted a very private ceremony to swear in Yellen. In other words, a banker swore in a fellow banker to head perhaps the most powerful bank on earth. What gives Tarullo the authority to do this? The Times remains silent on that point. The president nominates Fed chairman and the Senate must concur with the nomination. But that's where public control of any meaningful sort ends when it comes to structuring the Fed. When a U.S. president is sworn in, of course, there is an inauguration event of untold proportions. Over a dozen blocks of Washington are shut down. All newspaper vending machines are confiscated. Security is way beyond tight. Choirs sing, speeches are made. Televisions light up around the world. The power of a president are largely horizontal. They cover multiple things: the military enforcement of countless laws passed by Congress through multiple executive branch agencies, and so on. But the Fed is a different creature. Its largely vertical powers drill into the depths of monetary policy to control the lifeblood of daily commerce. Is it as powerful as the president? All in all, yes, but it may be more powerful. The bottom line is that the Fed's open market committee meetings are not open to the president and not open to the members of Congress. When Ben Bernanke was sworn in to head the Fed in 2006, the event was a nominally public gathering. President George W. Bush did speak. However, as the Times noted, the occasion was only the third time a president had visited the Fed. But Yellen took what was presumably a constitutional oath in a quiet ceremony in the Fed's boardroom in Washington. The Times noted Mrs. Yellen's installation was not even televised. The Fed released a picture of the administration of the oath by Daniel K. Tarullo, the longest-serving member of the Fed's Board of Governors. Ms. Yellen did not issue a public statement. Yellen won't make her first public appearance as the Fed's first-ever lady chairman until next week. She'll be delivering her first monetary policy report to the House and Senate banking committees. The Fed delivers those reports twice a year. Meanwhile, Washington's revolving door remains well-oiled. Bernanke went on to become a research fellow at the nearby Brookings Institution to help formulate economic ideas. Yellen has inherited from Bernanke a list of unfinished chores. That includes finishing changes required by the Dodd-Frank Act. That law is essentially an antitrust law to keeping banking mischief in check. But as one congressman long ago said, the Fed is the most gigantic trust on earth, and the actions of this private trust show that public monetary policy will continue to be forged behind closed doors, where painfully few congressmen or presidents dare tread.
Well, you heard it there. Tell me what you think of Yellen. If you want to call in 718-717-8296. We do have phones open right now. It's hard for me to give any type of opinion on Yellen or any other chairman of the Fed, for the simple fact the Fed shouldn't even exist. And I think that's one of the major things. So, we're going to, have to really start bringing up more of the monetary policy, the Federal Reserve. And I think that's probably why I say, I would pick Rand Paul over Ted Cruz if I had to pick. For the simple fact, I know that he would be one of the guys to go after the Fed, and not saying that everything he does will be good, but there's absolutely no one out there that everything they do will be good. And I'm just trying to search for any possibility that we can start reversing the trend that we're on. 'Cause really the biggest fear I have is a collapse, not just, having issues, a complete collapse. Not being able to stop any of the bloodshed. And the more minds we can change, the more we can free people's, minds and make them aware that they're a individual. Themselves are capable of much more than what society tells them to strive for. Society tells you to strive for a job. Society does not tell you to strive to create a job. Society tells you to make something someone invented. Society doesn't tell you to invent. And, for a long time, you would see during the first Bush and the second Bush, the left would talk about creativity and all this. Moment they're in power, absolutely none. And you have a lot of the right talking, we need to, deregulate and, that will help us, be able to, create. Man, what it does is it stifles creation, because what they do is they deregulate just enough for big business. And then you get the left in there and they regulate more to hurt the big business, which does hurt the economy, thinking, well, we'll level the playing field out for the little guy by regulating the big companies where they can't survive either. So now both can't survive. Yes, that way of leveling the playing field only encourages socialism and governmental control, and that's their goal. And then most of the right, their goal is to deregulate. We want corporatism. We don't want socialism. We don't want the government to be in control. Just our select few buddies we have at the top. So, we kind of get swindled on both sides. Now, how about this complete deregulation of certain things? Where, well, you don't have it regulated at all because the small regulations still hurt the small guy. Doesn't hurt the big company that can afford to pay the, $100,000 fine for, allowing something to be unmaintenanced and faulty, leaking into rivers maybe. Oh, just pay your $100,000 fine and we'll clean it up. Spend millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to clean up, this spill that happened. We'll fine you $100,000 and we're good. But if a little company does that, their heads are on, pitchforks. Their company's gone. Their house is gone. Usually, well, if they're a small company, they're usually local owned. So they live there in the community. Well, now they're kind of, chastised by the community. How could you let that leak off into the river? Big corporations don't have to deal with that. They pay the fine. They don't live there in that community, so they don't have to deal with it. So that local store owner, he's sitting there going, I have to provide for my community. I have to make sure I don't screw up and poison the community. Well, the big stores gotta make sure I'm getting the money. As long as they're buying it. That's all I care about. As long as they're buying it. Oh, we can put that maintenance off for a little bit. It's still good. Does it look good? Yeah, it looks good. Well, we don't need maintenance. Let's keep that money. That way we'll have that capital. We better just keep that capital. Then they waste that capital, and then something breaks. We'll just replace it. Oh, we got to pay a fine because it flooded the river with toxin. That's corporatism right there. And, well, the left loves corporatism. They love when the right pushes their corporatism. because they know that's just going to anger people. Then they can come in with their social. Look at all these big companies just poisoning stuff, getting away with it, and they just pay a fine and go about their business, and they're hurting the little man, and that's why we need to regulate them, take control, and we'll put our own people in there to keep an eye on everything, and well, becomes pretty much just government ran companies. That's socialism. It might not have, property of U.S. government stamped on it, but it's basically socialism. People are like, well, you can't deregulate all these big companies. They will just run amok and they'll poison things. If you deregulate, you get a powerful, city and county council and a sheriff that when these big companies poison, kick them out. Make them pay a higher tax every time they poison. You poison the river, well, you have to pay to clean it up. No more, we're going to have our people come in, you pay us a fine, you clean it up. That's what we should be doing. You're responsible. We'll have our people come in and test it, make sure you're actually cleaning up. But a lot of times big corporations like, let's say BP, maybe, kind of get off on things like that. And I'm not going to go deep down the rabbit hole on BP because I know a lot of people would love if I went deep down the rabbit hole on BP. A lot of interesting links in that whole situation with BP and the cleanup crew, cleanup company, and governmental contracts, and not saying that it is, just saying that it could be. Just kind of go in, check it out, and research it a little bit. Be interesting to see what companies are linked to who and where and why and how. I definitely found it pretty interesting. Okay. I have... Okay, here we go. This one I got out of Infowars.com. Idaho lawmakers turn back attack on Posse Comitatus. Kurt Nimmo, a bill sent to the Idaho legislature that would allow the National Guard to work with the federal government in violation of Posse Comitatus, was sent back to committee. It was scheduled for a House vote after it passed a voice vote in the House Transportation and Defense Committee on January 23rd, according to IdahoReporter.com. Majority Leader Mike Moll, a Republican, said from the floor that some House members had identified problems with the bill. Mr. Speaker, Moll said, I request unanimous consent that House Bill 367 be returned to the committee for amending. The Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, granted the move, sending the legislation back to committee. I didn't like the military police power component of the bill. I didn't like that at all, Moyle said when asked about the bill. House Bill 367 would have authorized the Idaho National Guard counter-drug support program to assist federal and state law enforcement agencies in interdicting the importation of controlled substances into the state, clearly a violation of Posse Comitatus. Posse Comitatus passed after the Civil War during Reconstruction, limits the power of the federal government to work with state and local law enforcement. According to IdahoReporter.com, the primary motivation for the legislation was economic. If enacted, the law would allow the National Guard to share in the seizure of property in drug cases. Republican Representative Joe Palmer told the news site that proposed legislation would be financially beneficial to the Idaho National Guard. He also said Idaho Governor Butch Otter had signaled his approval of the bill. We already know they're doing this. We've seen it up in New Hampshire. We've seen it all around the country. And they know that they can't put their troops on the ground for that reason when they use National Guard, which is the whole thing working with federal powers. Well, it's basically a branch of the military anymore. It is part of the federal powers because the Pentagon is a federal power and it basically can be used by the Pentagon. Therefore, it's not really controlled by the states anymore. Yeah, the governor can still call in the National Guard, but so can the military. Now, what happens when the governor calls in the National Guard and the National Guard is following directions from their military supervisors? Uh-oh. That's why we really should, if this is something you don't hear brought up on other broadcasts. This is something you don't hear brought up on, even Alex Jones or Glenn Beck or any of those. Our National Guard needs to be returned to militia status completely under the state. Your local state. It should not be tied to the U.S. military at all. At all. And really, the militia status still stands. I know here in Indiana it does. Basically, the Indiana Constitution says anybody over 17 that isn't basically injured or for any other reason, given an exemption of being part of the militia. So everybody is 17 and older is part of the Indiana militia according to the Indiana Constitution. Which I kind of like that for the simple fact. Well, that's, Second Amendment's only for militia. I'm definitely above 17 and I haven't been given an exemption of being part of the Indiana militia under the Indiana Constitution. Therefore, it still applies to me. Try to use that argument. But, even then, that argument is still a fallacy. They're trying to manipulate what the Second Amendment actually meant. It's not just for militia. But the National Guard being that militia type group that's supposed to be under the control of the states and being basically controlled by the U.S. military industrial complex. That's something that we really should end. We shouldn't have what used to be the state militia under U.S. military control, and we really should have more people bringing that up. Maybe I should try to get a hold of a few people, maybe start some type of campaign to return National Guard to that status. But, we'll see. I hear my dog barking in the background. But, I have another article here. Let me bring it up here. Maybe. Load. Okay, here we go. Okay. This one's out of theblaze.com. And, I can play it. Well, I can't play it, but, I could have, but I'm not going to worry about it because it does have some of the transcript here. Congressman tried to shut down a Tea Party leader at Thursday's hearing. That's when a GOP representative showed he wasn't having any of it. Representative Gary Connolly, Democrat from Virginia, dismissed a Tea Party leader's concerns over supposedly being targeted by the Internal Revenue Service, prompting Representative Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, to swoop in with a revealing set of questions. The incident occurred Thursday during a hearing of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee on the IRS, alleged targeting of conservative groups applying for tax-exempt status. Testifying before the committee was Catherine Engelbrecht, founder of the King Street Patriots. During her opening testimony, Engelbrecht recounted the close scrutiny her family and her small business underwent from multiple federal agencies soon after she applied for her group's tax-exempt status, suggesting that the reviews may have been politically motivated. After 20 years of being in business, remember this, Engelbrecht said during the hearing, and no agency coming to visit with us. The succession of agencies that have now come to us for all manner of things begs the question. And what she's saying is she's been open for 20 years and never had any problem, and now she has multiple agencies showing up. It says here the statistical probabilities of what happened to me happening without political motivation is staggering, she added. And incredulous Conley took her to task. I would just note for the record, she said, because we're so concerned about the law here and making sure there's no violations of the law, you are aware of the fact that it's actually illegal for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration to give advance notice when it gives inspections. That's actually a matter of law. OSHA visited Engelbrecht's business soon after she filed an application requesting tax-exempt status for the King Street Patriots. The OSHA visit resulted in her business being fined roughly $25,000 for various violations, including the wrong type of safety glasses on an employee and the wrong type of seatbelt on a forklift. I'm not contending that they shouldn't have given notice, she said. I'm only observing. But you complained about it. You complained that you didn't get advance notice, Conley shot back. I understand the concern, but you understand that they can check in advance to see, will you be there? Nor did we try to do anything to discourage the process, even though we weren't on premise, she said. And I absolutely take that at face value, he continued, but it's a huge leap then, given that to conclude that someone's out to get you, Miss Engelbrecht's, that there's any political motivation whatsoever with OSHA following its standard operating procedure. Fellow witness Jay Sekulow, chief counsel for the American Center for Law, tried to jump in to end Albrecht's or lend Albrecht's a hand, but was promptly shut out because he was not being questioned at the time in the hearing. That's when Jordan stepped in to make a simple but effective point. Mrs. Engelbrecht, Jordan said, in the first 20 years of business, did OSHA ever visit your place of business? No, sir, she responded. Never once? No, sir. After you filed the tax-exempt application for King Street Patriots, OSHA visited then, right? Yes, sir. In the first 20 years of business, did the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives ever visit your business? Jordan continued, no, sir. And they came a couple times once you filed your application. Yes, sir. And you, in the first 20 years of business, did the IRS ever audit you? No, sir. But once you filed your application, they audited you many times. And in your first 20 years of business, did the FBI ever visit you? No, sir. But once you filed your application, did they visit you? 6 times. Jordan made his final point. Mr. Conley wants us to believe that it's all a coincidence. Unamused with Jordan's line of questioning, agitated Conley shot back, insisting that he's merely looking for evidence of scrutiny being politically motivated. You can't believe it's all a coincidence, Jordan said. I refuse to do so. I believe in fact-based, epical oversight, Conley responded, and innuendo and drawing conclusion and paranoia due to substitute or fact-based epical oversight. Conley concluded by muttering the word McCarthyism. Really? Really? And I wish this would play. I can attempt to play it. Let me find my other listening device, and if it doesn't play, then it doesn't play. I'm not going to bother anybody with trying to play anything for me. Again, if it plays, it plays. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Let's go ahead and try this. It's not from YouTube, so hopefully that might make a difference.
Conduct. They remember the apology? They offered the apology. You know what? The apology's not accepted.
Mr. Chairman, in conclusion, I believe
Okay, I don't think it's playing. Sound like it started. I'm trying to listen to delay. working out there. Okay. But, yeah. Well, 20 years of business, none of these agencies ever visited you. Nope. And they all visited you after you filed for application for your Tea Party group. Yep. Coincidence? Alcohol, tobacco, and firearm, OSHA, IRS, FBI, all of them. Not politically motivated? Really? Think of all the tax-exempt groups that helped Obama. Definitely back in 2008. Think if they had to go through all the scrutiny a lot of these Tea Party groups went through. Do you think they would have had or they would have still been able to operate? Probably not. Not with all the corruption I've seen, come out of a lot of those groups. I don't think we would have, seen too much of that. Okay. There was another one on theblaze.com that I wanted to go over. If it didn't get buried by all this junk so-called news. Can't find it now. Nope, can't find it now. Oh well. We'll go on to another one, because I did have some other ones here. New poll Lindsey Graham may be finished for. And I know a lot of people definitely be happy about that. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican, will not be sitting happy by time the results of most recent round of polls reach his desk. According to a poll conducted by Wenzel Strategies, Graham is in big trouble. The poll included 623 likely Republican primary voters who were questioned via telephone between February 3rd and 4th. The poll has a margin of error of plus and minus 3.9%. The poll asked voters two questions. First, if the election were held today, who would you vote for? And it says here, Lindsey Graham, 45.9%. Lee Bright, 17.4%. Nancy Mace, 5.1%. Richard Cash, 4.9%. Bill Connor, 4.2%. Not sure, 22.5%. Second, should Lindsey Graham be reelected, or is it time for someone new? 38% deserves reelection. 49% time for someone new, and 13% not sure. South Carolina's unique runoff election system means that if Graham cannot garner at least 50% of the vote in the primary, then he is forced into a runoff with the second highest candidate. So far, that candidate is Senator Lee Bright. The results of the poll put Graham below 50%, even when considering the possible margin of error. In the case of South Carolina, the more candidates in the primary, the better again. The goal for the Graham's opponent is to force him into a runoff. According to this poll, if Graham is forced into a runoff, he will most likely lose to Senator Lee Bright. Only 38% of those polled felt that Graham deserved re-election. Graham has been criticized by many Republicans for his extremely liberal voting record. According to activist and reporter Joshua Cook, multiple county Republican parties within the state have formally and officially censured Graham, citing that he no longer represents the party's values. I don't think he's really ever. He's always been a progressive. Listen, progressives are who are in control of both parties. They want big government. It's just different ideas of how government should be bigger, how they should make government bigger, what government's role should be as a bigger government. But whatever it is, it's still control. They want control. One thing that you also don't hear on other broadcasts that talk about left and right is something I brought up multiple times. And that's the simple fact that, well, if you look at it, look back in history, the Republican Party and the Democrat Party were one party at one time. The Democratic Republican Party. What happened? They ran everybody else out of town. They weren't too dumb. They knew one party wouldn't exist for too long without people questioning it. Maybe grassroots starting to rise up. Well, if you split it into two and control both parties, then guess what? People have a false choice. And the people bought it. The people bought it. Okay. Let me bring up another one. Drone spotted at the scene of a fatal Connecticut crash, and the FAA is investigating why. The Federal Aviation Administration is asking serious questions after a drone was spotted at a fatal car crash in Hartford, Connecticut, Saturday. The FAA confirmed to Connecticut Fox affiliate WTIC TV on Thursday that they are investigating the use of a drone after a Hartford Police Department incident report was released stating that officers spotted a drone flying over the scene of the crash while bodies were still in the car. Police Lieutenant Brian Foley told the station that drones present concerns regarding privacy and officer safety. Well, maybe then the government drones are a concern to the public safety. How about that one? WTIC reported that the FAA will make a statement Friday. However, the FAA told the Blaze in an email that they do not have plans to make a statement yet. The Fox story is incorrect. We are not making a statement today. We are investigating. FAA spokeswoman Allison Duquette said the FAA sent the Blaze a unnamed aircraft system fact sheet explaining their stance on drones in public situations because they are inherently different from manned aircraft. Introducing UAS into the nation's airspace is challenging for both the FAA and aviation community. Safety is the FAA's top mission, and the agency maintains the world's safest aviation system as a provider of air traffic control services. The FAA, wow, I better slow down, also must ensure the safety and efficiency of the nation's entire airspace. Now, I want to call bull crap on that. Being someone that has a relative that has been flying helicopters and planes for probably, at least, I would say 20 years. Ones that literally have wingspans on them like 8 feet. You could put like a squirrel or put a groundhog inside the cockpit of one of these things. Gas powered and helicopters and stuff like that. Been flying it for, and that now they're trying to institute regulations and stuff. Because, people go, maybe we can actually use the drones to do our cop blocking. Maybe independent journalists can take advantage of drones where, they'll allow Fox News and CBS and ABC and, CNN and all these other, journalists in there, but they won't let any small independent journalists in. Well, we'll just fly a damn drone over the thing and, get our, view of what's going on. We have a real problem with, how small media outlets are, put up. And, talking about that, I'm definitely working on expanding, finishing up things with the website. Really need to talk to Jules too. 6 to 7 this Monday, be going live, every Monday, 6 to 7, not doing 2 hours on Mondays. I have to work weekends and I do the Friday and then go and work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 12-hour shifts, and then come back and I'll do 6 to 7 and we'll leave it at that. But, always try to, spread the link around for Anti-Tyranny News and, help us expand and help us get noticed out there. Definitely great supporters out there. And we always thank all of them for showing their support and tuning into this broadcast. Without you guys, really, I'd just be talking to a computer. We have a lot of work to do, when it comes to the liberty movement, if that's what you want to call it. We have a lot of work to do when it comes to waking people up and spreading the message of liberty. Not doing the left and the right. The right's right here, and the left's right about this. It's the simple fact that we expose the progressives and, the big government people, the people that want to intrude in your life. We have to wake more people up to recognize these things when they happen, to be more aware of what's going on politically instead of what's going on at the next football game, baseball game, basketball game. It's good to have something for your release, your hobby. If you like watching football, that's great. But they've made it so much that you have to be so involved with it. You have to be part of the draft picks and your fantasy football and your, all this crap. And it becomes where, there's always something going on with sports that you have to be involved in that you can't pay attention. If you like the sport, but, don't drown yourself in it unless it's affecting your life. And watching people run around and play football and make millions of dollars is not helping and improving your life. If anything, it's hurting your life when you get so involved that you allow politicians just sit there and be passing bills with nobody stopping them. You wake up one day and your freedom's gone. That's where we're at right now. We wake up and we don't recognize the country we're in. If you don't like it, go to a different. No. I don't like it because you keep changing it. I shouldn't have to go anywhere. Stop changing it. Change it back where I can be a free person. If more people were awake, they would understand freedom is the answer. Because none of the control mechanisms that have been placed upon us have stopped theft, have stopped murder, have stopped any of these criminal acts. They don't stop it. But they do limit the freedoms of the rest of the people. And that helps no one out. And, I think next Friday, I do want to mention this, next Friday, I'm going to try to do a special broadcast and hopefully I will have everything working right. But I really want to start getting into a little bit of maybe philosophy and the way of looking at life. Things that can free us. And I'll play some audio and other things from maybe clips that people might have seen, movies, independent films, but I'm really just going to really start looking at where can we start looking at ourselves to start making it where we can free our minds. And there's been conversation on meditation and other ways of really being able to grasp reality outside of the matrix. Because really we are in a matrix, and there's ways that we really need to start questioning our ways of thinking. And it's things that I've done too, where I go, well, what if it's not? What if it's not? And then you go, well, how could it not be? Well, what if my look on reality in this way is flawed, which is a possibility? And then you look at the situation again and you go, it makes a completely different outlook on something. And when you start doing that, what the human brain starts doing when you start questioning things like that is it opens up this part of the brain that it's almost like you're having an outer body experience because you're so deep into thought. That's almost like you're traveling outside of the matrix. And, it's pretty interesting. It really is. And, there's some stuff that I'm going to play next Friday that you're going to listen to, and you're going to be like, wow. Once you actually question your reality, what you open up for the possibilities is amazing. And I think the major thing that I've seen come out of people that, even, just people that meditate, that have been able to find that level of consciousness, but of dreaming, dreaming at the same time, they have a deeper understanding of what liberty and freedom and, evolving really is. They don't have the answers, but they have an understanding of it at a deeper level. Someone says that happens to me on shrooms. Actually, that a lot of these drugs have been used by many cultures, like, peyote and stuff like that, to try to reach that level of consciousness. And, I don't think it's necessary. Because really, when you really start getting deep down into the philosophy of the meaning of things and reality and, your cognitive dissonance and having ability to recognize that, you're able to find that same level of, it's almost like you are tripping, but it's just the natural brain trying to analyze the world around you and try to make sense of it in a different way than you just going, you see it with your eyes, you automatically make a conclusion, and you're on your way. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, you shouldn't ever second guess yourself. And, well, that might be good for something that you already know, and it's a definite. When you're doing math and, 2 plus 2 equals 4. You should go, does it equal 2? Okay, yeah, it equals 4. No, you don't need to do that. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Well, I guess if you're learning Common Core standards, you might think 2 by 2 is 5. I'm like, 2 plus 2, 5. Oh no, it's 4. No, I learned Common Core standards, so it's 5. But there's things that when you really start looking at it, like science and philosophy and politics and, biology and things like that, when you really start questioning the reality of it. And again, this is something I'll get deeper into next Friday. But you definitely, you find a whole different place. And, the best way to describe it is the same way, religious people interact with, their God. And, I've known people that have found God and have become better people. But I don't think it's God himself that does it, because, well, one, I'm not super religious or nothing like that. I'm more spiritual. It could be God, but I have no idea. But I think it's the philosophy behind the morals and behind life, and questioning that and trying to understand it. And the more you do that, the more in depth you get with it, and the more you can really start opening different possibilities within your grasp of reality. I'll tell you what, I don't know anybody that's ever reached really that true level of it and had any cognitive dissonance anymore. It's one of those things that you can't. You're questioning too much. tell you what, the brainwashing does not work on people that have found that. I think, many religions offer that ability. I think a lot of, more spiritual philosophy does that. I think a lot of the philosophy on liberty, which even, look at our founding fathers, a lot of their writings, Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin. Then we have, Mario Rothbard. Read some of, Ron Paul's stuff. There's something there that you reach a understanding of liberty. And I think that we need more of that. We need to understand deeply the philosophy of liberty. And hopefully, next Friday's broadcast, we'll be able to do that. I got so much work on my plate. I don't know how I'm going to get through it all, but I will. I need to get Jules, a new banner for the broadcast. And I need to get commercial recorded. And I just wish I could, take off this weekend from work, but can't afford to do that. Okay, I have, one article that I believe I went over this Wednesday. Firefighter detained at scene, helping victims for not moving fire truck. You can go to anti-tyrannynews.com, find the article there. There was an update to that. The California Highway Patrol and Chula Vista Fire Department issued a joint statement on Wednesday calling the incident unfortunate and vowing to improve communications. Last night there was an unfortunate incident at the scene of a traffic collision on I-805 where both agencies had responded. Both the CHP and the Chula Vista Fire Department share a common goal of protecting the public and providing the highest level of safety to responding emergency personnel, involved parties, and other drivers at collision scenes. Both of our agencies have the utmost respect for each other and our respective missions. This was an isolated incident and not representative of the manner in which our agencies normally work together toward a common goal. This morning, representatives from both agencies met to discuss the incident to improve communication and ensure the highest level of service is provided to the public. This incident will be a topic for future joint training sessions in an ongoing effort to work more efficiently together. What I want to know is, whose side did this, who's claiming the wrong? Who's taking responsibility for being wrong? Is the police department taking the responsibility of being the wrong party in this incident? Or is the fire department? That's what I want to know, because it better be the highway patrol, California Highway Patrol. Because the fire department was doing everything they were supposed to do. But this is a typical statement they put out to not have to admit blame. They put out a joint statement. That way it comes from both of them. That way no one's going to claim blame in it. If they put out, separate ones where the Chula Vista department goes, we're going to make sure that our personnel are never put in handcuffs for doing their job again. And, law enforcement should put one out saying that we're sorry for detaining the person that was trying to help save lives and telling him to move his fire truck out of the lane that was protecting the ambulance in front of him so it could load up injured people. That would be more responsible and understanding. Okay, it looks like we're coming up here towards the end of the broadcast. Don't forget to go to antityrannynews.com. Right on the right hand side, there's a subscribe box. You can subscribe to our e-newsletter. I haven't put any out lately, but I will be putting out more. Once we start getting everything finalized here, trying to get more articles up. I got a few up right now. Not a lot, but we are definitely working on it. Once I get graphics done, it kind of sucks. I'm kind of my own IT guy. I'm kind of my own graphics guy. I'm kind of my own, journalism guy. I'm, editor and then, operator and then host and, absolutely no help other than gratefully, Jules, does a lot with the network. So that's one thing I don't have to touch. And, I couldn't do it without her. There's no way. And I'm always grateful to Jules for everything she does. And thanks again, Jules, for coming on tonight and helping me, play a few clips because, seems like I'm having some issues, going to run some updates and scans and updates and more scans and try to get this all figured out by Monday, even though I probably won't play anything Monday, only doing an hour. But, to show your appreciation, for what UCY offers all the listeners out there and, the platform they give us hosts here. Go to ucy.tv and there is a tab UCY store and it's, UCY's Amazon store and there is some great stuff in there. You go to the Amazon store and, survival gear and radiation gear to be able to check. We have this whole Fukushima just spewing radiation. You got the rad stickers that you can place on it and it'll turn a color if you get exposed to radiation. The radiation detector keychain. They have, digital, little handheld, counters. Masks and all that stuff. And, you go there, survival stuff and, everything you need, your can openers and your, waterproof match containers, life straws, everything you could really want, magnesium, metal, shavings, for your fire starting. Awesome stuff. Definitely go check out their store and help support them. One way you can help support Anti-Tyranny News, just go to our site. We got ads up. Some of them, My Patriot Supply, those are, ads directly on, our site, more affiliated, ads, and you purchase something like if you want to get their seed vault right now, like at $37.95, I think they might even have it on sale right now. You get something like that, then, we always get our little kickback. And then we do also, we have Google Ads, which they didn't want to give me, allow me to have Google Ads on my site for many years. All of a sudden they just popped up like, oh yeah, we'll give you Google Ads. We'll run your Google Ads while you'll allow us. So, there's the Google Ads on there. But, most importantly, if you go on the homepage, anti-tyrannynews.com, there's a book recommendation. Some great books out there. And if you see any books there that you might want, that would always help out. That's through our Amazon account with Anti-Tyranny News, our book recommendations. And it's one of those things that every little bit helps, but I understand right now a lot of people are hurting for money themselves, and just the spreading the word out there, letting people know, hey, there's a network out there, UCY.TV, with some great broadcasts, Anti-Tyranny News, all these other great broadcasts, and coming up next, Boiler Room Radio with Jim Funke. Let them know about that, UCY.TV. But thanks for joining me this Friday. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday, 6 to 7.